So I know that you're wondering what in the world to do with all that information that you collected and listened to. We're going to dive into that right now. So, understanding your target audience, understanding their hopes, their dreams, their desires, and their fears means that you can dial in your messaging and your marketing right tight in on what their desires, their true desires really are. So we're going to be working on developing the promise, packaging up the promise. The promise is that transformation. So to understand what I mean by transformation, I want to use a really simple analogy. Think about when you need to buy a hammer. Usually, you need to buy a hammer because you've got a nail that needs to go somewhere. Maybe you want to hang a picture on the wall. So you go to the store, the hardware store, to buy a hammer. The hammer is the product, but the product isn't the transformation. In fact, you're not really buying the hammer for itself. You're buying the hammer for what it can do for you. The transformation the hammer gives you is a nail in the wall and a picture hanging there. It's that picture hanging on the wall that's the transformation, not the hammer. The hammer is just the tool to get you there. In the same way that your product is the tool that's going to get your client to the place they want to be. So, what we're doing is looking at that data to tease out the things that get in the way of their purchasing art and what they really want in terms of buying art, in terms of collecting art, or in terms of supporting art. You have to know what they really want in order to be able to create a package that's going to appeal to them. We're going to look at the top 5 problems that you identified in that last lesson, in lesson 1, and then brainstorm possible solutions to each one of those. So think about those problems. I'd be willing to bet money was at least one of them. That's one of the most common things that people cite as a reason why they don't buy art, is they think it's too expensive and they can't afford it. So one possible solution to that would be to offer a payment plan, in essence, offer layaway. That would be an easy solution to that problem. Many of us artists offer that. We don't always put it on our website. So in addition to offering a layaway option, you need to make it clear to your customer and client that you do that so they know it's an option. So no matter how simple or obvious that problem is, put it down here. The problem could be, I don't know how to choose an artwork. Well, then offer a selection service. Offer to help them identify which piece is going to be most appropriate to their space. It could be that they can't afford an original painting, but they could afford a print. So a solution would be to offer reproductions or posters. See where I'm going with that? So pick out the top 5 problems and then brainstorm all the possible solutions that you can think of in the table next to the list of problems. That's in step 1 of this lesson's workbook. Most of the problems that your audience lists are going to be external problems. They're going to be things like not having enough space, not having enough money, not knowing if it'll fit the size of the room, not knowing if it will go with the color of the sofa. Those are all external problems. Usually those external problems, when you dig a little bit deeper, mask or cloak an internal problem, a feeling problem. There is some feeling that is a belief, a false belief about what they can and cannot have. And so we want to identify both the external problems and the internal problems, the external false beliefs as well as the internal false beliefs, so that we can create a package that eliminates those objections. Those problems become objections. Those are the things that are holding them back from buying. And we want to eliminate those. And you eliminate them by creating features and benefits that answer those. When you're looking back at that survey data, the response to your poll, you're going to find golden nuggets super easily. And those golden nuggets are going to be in the form of the things that they want, but they're going to be couched in terms of what they don't want. So think about the biggest problem that somebody might have, being money. And if you have also asked them to elaborate on that a little bit, or if they've given you a little bit more information, so that the question, answer to the struggle question, the hurdle question might be, I don't have enough money to buy original art, so I'm stuck with having the same posters on my walls that I bought in college. So that tells you the problem. It also tells you the thing they want to change. In addition, it tells you how they feel. It also tells you what they see as the solution to their own problem. So let's think about that a little bit more deeply and tease that apart. I don't think I can afford original art, so money is the issue. An obvious solution would be a payment plan. So I'm stuck with the same posters that I bought in college on my wall. So the consequence of that person not realizing that there are affordable ways to buy art is that they're still having to look at the same Jerry Garcia poster that they bought in college when they're 35 or 40 and a young professional. That can have some really definite negative consequences. How professional does it look when you have a dinner party at your house and you've got that Jerry Garcia poster up in the dining room still? I know this is a little bit of a silly example, but you get where I'm going. There are some definitive negative consequences that make the person feel like they're still juvenile, like they're still a baby, like they're still in college, like they are not fully a professional. So you can alleviate those internal emotional problems with a simple payment plan. And you can paint the picture for them of what it would look like to be able to have that original art on the walls of their home in a way that is affordable and alleviates the stress of having the same old poster still hanging up there 10, 15 years later. So we actually do solve real problems, real external problems. Art can be a decor in a home. It can raise your status among your peers. It can become an investment property. It can become the decoration in the investment property. There are all sorts of ways that art really does solve an external problem, a physical external problem. But where you get the buyer to make the choice, the client to make the choice to buy, is through appealing to that emotional internal problem. So look hard for those golden nuggets in your poll results to see what kind of language your client, your audience, your followers are using in describing how that external problem makes them feel. That's where the gold is. And that feeling, my friend, is the transformation. That is what they're really buying, not just the artwork. So dig deep and find that feeling so you can identify the transformation that your audience is begging for you to create. Hop into that workbook and then pop back in here.